Please introduce yourself and tell us a bit about Robot Gentleman.
Yeah, hi, my name is Radek. I'm a lead game designer at Robot Gentleman. We're working on our second project right now, which is 60 Parsecs, a spiritual successor to our first game, 60 Seconds, which was a narrative survival strategy game, which I'm happy to say sold over 1 million copies recently, so it was a great success. But you know, we don't want to stop there. We want to expand our brand of interactive storytelling. So this game, 60 Parsecs, is much more expanded in that way. Robot Gentleman is a small but scrappy studio from Poznań in Poland. It started with just two guys, Dominik Gotojuk and Juliusz Zenkner. Then Dominik's sister Berenika joined them. And they made 60 Seconds together, and then the rest is history. They thought, well, okay, so maybe we can find some more talented people, so we can make even bigger games, even faster, and just get to make more fun stuff in our lifetimes.
You mentioned that the upcoming 60 Parsecs is a spiritual successor to the well-received 60 Seconds. Could you give us a quick rundown for those who don't know your games yet?
Yeah, so the original game takes place in late 50s, early 60s, it's like the Americana with nuclear apocalypse looming large, and you play as at the beginning as a patriarch of a suburban family, and at the beginning of the game you hear that there's a nuclear alert that a nuke is coming. So you have 60 seconds to gather all the things that you can in your house, to gather your family, and then hide in the shelter. And that's where the fun begins, where you start to play this choose your own adventure game, but with some strategy elements, with rationing and so on, and you have to survive with the things that you collect. So 60 Parsecs is set in the same universe and more or less at the same time. This time, the backstory is that the US government wanted to accelerate the space race and improve their position in the space race. So they've created something called the Astro Citizen program, and the idea is that everyone can apply and will be trained as an astronaut and go into space. So we join our team of space explorers who are total amateurs, and at the beginning of the game the nuke is coming, so they have to escape the space station where they are, and then survive in space on an escape shuttle. And then eventually, of course, many different adventures happen. It's mostly a narrative adventure. We have something that I like to call AI narrator, so the prose is tailored to who you are playing as, who do you have in your crew, what's your situation, what are your statuses. So that's one of the things that's new in 60 Parsecs, that's expanded from the first part. Another thing that we're very proud of are relationships between characters. So right now, other people on board silently judge your decisions, and if you make really bad decisions or ones they don't agree with because they have different personality, then they might become your enemy. If they like your decisions, they might become your friends, and then when they are your friends and you are still friendly with them, then maybe that will turn into something more. So this whole another layer of story, those relationships between characters.
So player choices are impactful? There is not just one possible way to win or lose the game?
Oh no, especially true for 60 Parsecs, where there's not one original, the official story of the game. What happens in the game is that you start in space, but then eventually you crash the planet, and there's more than one planet. I don't want to give it a specific number, but there are a few planets, and all of them has its own adventures, its own expedition locations that you can visit. But most importantly, each has a number of storylines that you can follow. And they lead to completely different endings. So it is always the player's story, and everything you do has some consequence. Even if it's not immediately apparent, then we have some systems to take care of it. So, for example, this decision made that character like you less, or this decision make someone like you more or respect you more, or perhaps a choice that seems inconsequential at this time might come back much later to go and bite you in the head.
Survival games often focus more on the sandbox aspect than on a solid story. How important is the story in 60 Parsecs?
Well, this is something that we've worked very hard on. Of course, the game is driven by systems. So, there are many strategies that are valid that can help you, and of course your main goal is survival. But we have several systems that kind of put your experience and try to express it as a story. So even if you do something that you think that okay, that's a purely systemic thing, I just needed to eat or something, then we have like story content that gives context to it and makes it all seem like one narrative. Of course, if you die on the third day, then maybe it's not that good a story. But we also, of course, have safeguards in place to not let that happen. So so it always has like this classic structure, your adventure.
How did you keep track of your branching storylines? It sounds like there are lots and lots of them.
Well, it's not easy, but it's built out of like certain blocks, and and they like work on it on their own. They work in tandem with each other. So we are pretty like this. It happens kind of magically that all of it works. Yeah, we've been able to like put the pieces together in a way that we are still surprised playing it, because it's always a different story and sometimes a dramatically different story, but it always makes sense. So maybe I'm not even really sure how we achieved it, but I'm happy to say that we did.
What are your thoughts on the Polish indie game development market? Is it in a good place compared to other places in Europe?
Well, game development in Poland in general is like very, very fast. Is developing very fast. So you have all those big companies and like Techland or CD Projekt, and so, but also other ones like this newcomer Layup Games, which is like pretty big company, pretty ambitious. And all of those companies like breed talent, yeah, like they give people experience, they give them like knowledge, how to, what are the best practices, and then those people like go on their own and do their own things, and those are often very amazing things. So it's a great place, and actually as Robot Gentleman, our headquarters are something called a Pyramida Hub, and it's this big space where in addition to us there are other indie developers, so we can trade experience, we can trade impressions of our games, so it's a very creative like environment, and personally I don't think I would want to work anywhere else.
60 Seconds received quite a buzz from being played by a number of YouTubers. Were you surprised by the success?
I wasn't there at the beginning, but I'm not surprised that it happened that way, because that's the beauty of 60 Seconds, that each playthrough, no matter whether you succeed or you fail, is like a fun story that is just super engaging to watch, especially if you have someone narrating it as funnily as some of those YouTubers do. So in general I think that storytelling is very much the future of interactive entertainment. I'm not saying that every game should be very story heavy, but I think that we can bring even more people that weren't gamers before with the story, and with the promise of, hey, you are the hero of this story, or those are the characters that you can follow and you can influence their fate.
Do you have any tips for aspiring developers who might wonder how to get their games noticed?
It's a very tough market, and but what you need the most is probably luck. Of course, your game has to be good. Yes, if you can have all the luck in the world, and if your game is not good, or at least interesting and unique in some way, then of course no one will be interested in it. But the only thing I believe that game developers can be responsible for is that the game is fun and that is good, and the rest is up to some higher power.